Welcome to the Business Behind the Scene podcast with Francesca Moi, where we talk all about real business problems, real solutions, and getting actual results in your business.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the That's Audacious podcast. And today we have the fabulous Francesca Moi with us. Now, Francesca is a speaker and she's a founder of the Empowering Virtual Solution, Australia's most human-focused VA agency for seven-figure growth for CEOs who are overwhelmed with what they're doing. And we're going to talk a lot about how you can just unburden yourself today and delegate better so that you can grow your business faster. Francesca, you're known for your no-fluff style and you are really awesome at talking business with people. But tell us a little bit more about who you are and what it is that you do.
Thank you so much for having me, Lauren. I'm really excited to be here. Well, who am I? Like, literally, this is such a good question. And I'm not sure how deep you want to go into this question. But when I first started the business, all I wanted to do is to be a successful business owner. And I wanted to get to $5 million as soon as possible. And I burned myself out doing that. And so who I am now, I think that I will explain a bit really different to what I will say maybe 5 years ago. And what I am now is I'm just a woman that would like to have a good lifestyle, and in the meantime have no financial stress. So I love business, I love properties, I love money, and I love lifestyle. So I'm a business woman that is focused on living a best life that I can, working the less that I can.
I love it. You've got to get your priorities right, haven't you? It isn't always about these. I mean, everyone talks about 8 figures and 9 figures and so on. It's like, it's not always what you look for. It's more about your value of what you have with the time that you have here on this amazing planet. So, Francesca, obviously you moved to Australia. You're an immigrant here to Australia and you've done amazing things. Tell us a little bit about your journey and the challenges that you overcame as a woman starting in business.
Well, I have never in my life wished to have my own business. Never. It was not even in my brain. When I got to Australia, I was working in Coles head office. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do this in a podcast, but I am saying it. So there we go. I had a boss and I was an EA for one of the general managers there. And the lady was saying, Francesca, you are too fast and you're making me look really bad because it looks like that I don't need a EA because you're doing things in like 2 hours. So that means that I could do that. So can you just go slower? And I was like, wait, what? No, I want to go faster because I would love to become a marketing manager. And then she was like, you don't have a degree. You're never going to be able to have a career here in Australia. So just forget about it and just be my EA and be slow. And I was like, wait, what? Like, I was like confused. And I think that was the moment that I was also going through a breakup at the time with my ex. And I was like, I don't know if I belong here. So I left and I went back to Italy and I started this personal development journey that gave me clarity of, oh, maybe there's more to life. Maybe there's more than working 9 to 5, hating your job and go to the gym at 5 and go home and watch Married at First Sight. So I literally, like, if you saw me and met me back then in 2009, 2010, 2011, all the way to 2013, you would not recognize me. You'd be like, what is this person? Because I think that the personal development journey showed me that I could have a better life and I could achieve more. And so, yeah, long story short, I never knew that I was going to start a business and I just fell into it, literally.
I love it. Because back then, when you talk personal development, and it's so nice when we talk to a lot of people on this podcast who have achieved amazing things, a lot of it is to do with personal development.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, business models and structures and all that sort of stuff, important, marketing yourself, promoting yourself, but it's to do with your own self-belief, isn't it? A lot of the time, and overcoming those mindset shifts that you have to do. You once met the lovely Tony Robbins as well, didn't you? When you were in personal development journey. Tell us a little bit about how that worked for you.
Well, that was fantastic. Like, I was so keen to go to Tony Robbins events and I couldn't afford it. I quit my job and I didn't have anything. I was not doing anything at all. And I couldn't get business because I couldn't sell myself. Like, I was a life coach and I couldn't get even one client. So when I had to go to a Tony Robbins event, I couldn't afford it. And so I had to be resourceful. And what I did is that I sold 100 tickets to go and see Tony. And I said to the salesperson for Tony, I was like, look, if I sell 100 tickets, I want this many tickets for free. So then I will sell them and actually make money as well from it. I got a free ticket for me, but also I wanted to meet Tony. And at the time, it was still available that as an option. And so I did it. I got to meet Tony and I went to the back. And unfortunately, I was so shy and I didn't have much. My words were like, "Hi, Tony, I love you." That's all I said to him, which is like, such a pity.
But what an achievement. So how did you do that? How did you sell 100 tickets? What was the learning around that?
You know what, Lauren? It was funny because at one point I sold $28,000 of tickets for Tony Robbins in a day. And all I did by using Facebook, social media, doing lives, going talking to people, and just like literally community building. And as I did that, I look back and I was thinking, wait a minute, I sold $0 in a year for my own life coaching business, but yet I can sell a personal development course for Tony Robbins in a day and make $28,000 for him and zero for me because I wasn't keeping any of the money, right? I was like, am I silly? What is happening here? So it really helped me to shift of saying, my community have money and it will pay for what they find value in. So all I need to do is I need to change the value that I'm putting out there rather than just putting value on Tony Robbins. I need to start to do that for my own self. And it was amazing. So I'm like, okay, I did that for Tony in a day. I'm going to do that for myself in a month. And my goal was to make $28,000 in a month, which I did, not straight away. It took me about a year, but then I got there and I was like, all right, what is my next goal? So I kept increasing what was possible by surrounding myself with people that were doing it. And then as soon as I had a reference, I was like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. And I kept doing that. And it was so much fun.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that you are such a clear goal setter as well. And it's when you give yourself that deadline and that reason why that you're fired up to do those things. So you then became a bit of an event specialist after that. And I know when we first met, you're looking at positioning yourself with empowered events. Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yes. So what was happening is that when I did that for Tony Robbins, I started to get other coaches. They were saying to me, can you do that for me? Can you sell my tickets? And so I had an NLP practitioner that I wanted to do an NLP course in Australia. And he said to me, can you fill up my room? Can you get 10 people to my NLP prac? And I will give you a free ticket. I was like, oh yeah, I want to do an NLP prac. So I kept I fell into it, right? So I got 10 people to do the course and then I got a seat for free. So I did a 7-day course for free. And then it wasn't for free, right? Because I sold 10 tickets. So it was a commission. So then some other people were saying, can you do like a networking event and I will speak and I'll get clients and I'll give you commission? I was like, yeah, of course. So eventually I started to do more and more of those networking events, fill up the room and get some of the speakers to speak. And then I will either get a commission or I get a free ticket to the course. And that started to generate some really good momentum. And at the point that people were like, why don't you speak at your events? And I was like, because I'm not a speaker. Like, I'm Italian. I've got an accent. Why would you want to hear from me? And I remember practicing on Skype. I was practicing a first 15-minute talk. And my friend was a Spanish friend of mine. And at the end of the 15 minutes, he looked at me and he said, do you want me to be honest? I said, yeah, of course. Friend, that was shit. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to be a speaker. I can't do this. But you know what? That sheet presentation, once I was in front of people, it became really authentic and real. And people really loved it. He was shocked. He was like, wait, what? It actually worked? It was horrible yesterday. And it became my style. My style was, I was up front. I was myself. I would say, shut up, boom, things like that on stage. And people loved it. And it became my personality, became my signature.
Yeah, I love it. There's some lovely mindset shifts in that. There's nothing like having a good friend or a family member to tell you how crap you are, to really fire you up and go, whatever, I'm going to do it anyway. I love that. I also love the fact that it doesn't have to be perfect and polished in order to be a success. If you can be real and human and connect and engage, it's a much better way of really creating that connection and that community.
Honestly,
you need to do. Yeah.
Lauren, it's still nowadays, right? When people, clients come to us and they want the virtual assistant to help them with a brand on social media, I say to them, the less polished the videos, the better it is. And I'm not saying that because I don't think that VAs can do a polished job. They can. But the more professional the videos look, the less people want to connect with you because it sounds like you're talking to a camera rather than talking to them. And It really is like that. So the videos that are less polished, they don't have a cover photo that is perfect. Those one, the one that go viral, the one that have too much perfectionism around it, people feel like, oh, this is just like, someone out there that doesn't work.
Yeah. And you set yourself almost too far apart from where they're at rather than meeting them in their journey. So backtrack a little bit, because we've jumped from events to VA. So obviously something happened, and I'm assuming it's COVID. When you're running an events business, and I know so many people in events and keynote speaking and all sorts of things, the whole thing shifted when COVID happened. And so much of that events industry had to completely adapt and pivot to something else. And obviously you went, I'll do something new. How did you settle on, okay, I'll start a VA business? Where did that come from?
Lauren, it was the scariest time of my life, because by then I had 2 properties, I had to pay mortgage, and the business was literally like sky falling. I was like, what am I gonna do? And I was hanging on with your life. Like I was like, I'm not letting go. I can build it up. I can do this. And all my team in Australia started to quit. So it was just like from 7 staff members to me. From the Filipinos VAs, thank Lord, didn't leave me. They were like, Francesca, we'll work it out. We'll stay next to you. And that was great. And I was so stuck in the fact that I had to pivot, that I wasn't seeing opportunities. And I would never forget this day that I was walking my dog, I was crying, and I was thinking, how am I going to pay mortgage this month? I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And I was crying, and I thought, maybe I just need to go bankrupt. Maybe I just go bankrupt and I get myself a job. And the moment that I thought that, I realized that my brain was catastrophizing. How do you say that word? Was making it like bigger.
It was amplifying the problem.
Amplifying it, right? And it wasn't true. I didn't need to go bankrupt. All I needed to do is to restructure what I was doing. I could just sell the houses and go back in renting, and I would have been fine. So I was like, oh, wait a minute. I don't need to go bankrupt. Oh, okay. The moment that I look at the truth and I started to look at the actual worst case scenario, I was not afraid anymore. And the moment that I was okay to do that, and I thought, okay, maybe I just sell the houses, close the business now, and get a job. The moment that I accepted that is the moment that I started to see opportunities. And I started to notice that people were not asking me about my academy anymore, but people were asking me of one wing of the academy, which was the virtual assistant. I was still doing virtual assistant for years, but it was all part of one package. So I was like, what if I just do that? And so I started to create a package for that. And it was a miracle, Lauren. This, as the academy literally monthly income was going down, the virtual assistant agent started to go, and it literally swapped like that. That not even 1 month I had to stop my salary, and it was a miracle. And it was because I was allowed to accept the worst case scenario. And the moment that I was like, okay, I can make it happen. I can just get a job and sell the houses. I'll be fine. That's the moment that I was able to see what's next. And then it came about and it happened. And I was able to grow this business to 1 million in 14 months because I had this recipe. Is the same, right? You can just, I know now this, the best thing about this is that if this shut down, I can do another business to 1 million, and I'll do it in 8 months this time.
Yeah, brilliant. There's nothing like living through that, and I know it's horrible when it happens, isn't it? It's the most awful thing when it happens, but the learning that comes out of it and the development is amazing. You are listening to the That's Audacious podcast. If you like what you're hearing and you want more, there are loads more episodes on our channel. You'll find them on all of your favorite podcast platforms. Now, Francesca, let's talk a little bit about the challenge that a lot of people have with having VAs in their business. And I know there's a lot of people who have, like, they don't know if they're ready yet, if they're big enough. They don't know whether they should get someone offshore or onshore. They really are worried about how they're going to manage the whole process of handing over what they're doing to a VA. Let's talk a little bit about what you saw and how you have approached it quite differently in terms of how you delegate yourself to VAs.
Yes, Lauren, look, a lot of people say to me, a lot of my team members say to me, you are the opposite of every other business owner. You delegate everything to us, and you let us make mistakes, and you let us figure it out. It was not always like that, though. When I first started, I noticed that I was a life coach. The first year of my business, I was simply a life coach, one-to-one sessions. And what I've noticed is that I was so busy with back-to-back one-to-ones that then I would not I forget, or I would have not have time to follow up on my clients. So then I will be promising things and I was not fulfilling my promise, which will make me feel so guilty and wake up in the middle of the night going, oh, I didn't do that email. I didn't send that recording. I didn't send them a summary of our call. Like I would just have this so much anxiety moment, which is so stressful. So I hired my first virtual assistant back then to help me with the admin and customer service part. And that was priceless because then they would have a great session, but then they would also have a great follow-up part. And so they never felt alone. They felt that we were always with them. And so I realized that I had to own my own strength and not try to be everything. And I didn't have to know how to do the customer service part. I just needed to know what I wanted and then let my VA figure it out. I didn't need to know everything about Canva. I just need to know what I wanted and let my VA figure it out. So I just started to let go because honestly, I just physically couldn't do everything. And when I started to get the results and people were happy, I'm like, oh, they don't need me to send an email. My VA can do it. This is fantastic. And so I got a little bit, if you want, addicted to getting the benefit of the result of what the VA can do, but I didn't have to do it. And so I did that in everything, Lauren. I got a cleaner, I got a chef. Like I was like, what else can I outsource so that I can focus on not getting knowledge in my brain, reading books, podcasts, go to the gym, being healthy so that I can have the energy to run a business that, business needs me to be focused. It needs me to be not exhausted. If I'm exhausted 24/7, how can I run a business properly, right? And so I became excited. Like I love it. And that's why I wrote The Power of Delegation, because it's a mindset shift. And one more time, right? It's about done is better than perfect. If I wait for my VA to do it 100%, it's probably never going to be out in the market, which means I'm not helping people anyway.
Yeah, I love it. And that's the thing, isn't it? Do you think that's the biggest thing that holds people back from delegating, is they worry that it's not going to be as good as they want it to be?
That is definitely one thing. And sometimes there's also cash flow. So yesterday, I was chatting with a gorgeous lady that is doing an incredible job. And she got stuck because she worked 7 days a week. She does everything by herself. And now finally the bank account is starting to get bigger and bigger. And she loves it. And she's like, but if I get a VA, my bank account is going to get smaller and smaller. I'm like, but is it? Because if your bank account now is getting bigger and bigger and you get burnt out, it's going to get smaller and smaller anyway. So you need to delegate in order for you to start to get more money. You've got lots of ideas. You want to go into group coaching. You want to do this, you want to do that, but you can never do it because you don't have time. So your actual bank account is going to either stay where it is or goes less anyway. So I would recommend that there was a coach that told me this year, and I loved it because they said, you're either in a growth phase or you're in a steady phase. So if you're in a growth phase, every single profit should go back into the business. Oh, we got balloons. If I am in steady, like if I want to maintain the business where it is, then every single thing everything I should do is how can I make more profit? So then I should try to see where can I cut costs, where can I do things so that the business can stay at that level. So the question that I ask her is like, are you in growth mode or are you in steady mode? I'm in growth mode. Okay, then why don't you invest every single cent into your business?
Yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is what you've said there is it's not about duplicating yourself. It's about delegating the stuff that you really shouldn't be doing. How would someone decide what is the stuff that I should be doing versus the stuff my VA should be doing?
That is very cool. Well, I have created a PDF for people to download that they can just work that out. But my biggest thing that I say, if you want to just like imagine that your business is big enough for you to hire a CEO. And a CEO, you will pay maybe $200,000 a year, right? You're interviewing a CEO and they give you the list of tasks that you are currently doing every single day. And they tell you, don't worry, I am multitasker. I can do your Canva. I can do your emails. I can do your bookkeeping. I can do your socials. I can do it all. Would you hire a CEO for $200,000 to work on that? And every single person tell me always, absolutely not. I'm like, okay, well then look yourself in the mirror and fire yourself. Because you're not being a CEO, you're being a multitasker, which no business needs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. Now, Francesca, on this podcast, we always ask our guests the same question. So I'm going to ask you the same thing. If you could go back in time to a particular point in your business journey and give yourself some advice, what would that be?
Look, the biggest thing is work on your mindset. Never, ever, ever stop working on my mindset. Every time I had a roadblock in the business, it was because I stopped doing what I know works, which is my meditation in the morning, having a coach, speak it out, go to networking events, go to groups where they teach you business stuff. Where every time I stop that, because life happens and you think like, oh, I've done it for a while and I don't need it this month. Every time I go backwards because I don't focus on that. So my biggest suggestion to me in the past is never stop that. Listen to podcasts, go to coaches, go to courses, put yourself out there, network, talk with people that are in bigger businesses than you, and still stay up to date with what's happening. Because if you don't, then your business is going to suffer.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And a big part of that is building your own profile, isn't it? Is stepping into your own personal brand and deciding this is what I want to be known for. How have you dealt with that side of things, given that you've changed what you've done? I mean, starting at Coles as an EA right through to what you're doing now, it's been a big journey. How have you built your profile and the reputation that you have in the marketplace?
Well, that's a question that probably we need to ask people that follow me. How did they see that change? I'm not sure. But what I try to do is just to always be as authentic as I can and just be myself in everything I do. And what I've always had feedback on is when people see me speak in an event or speak online and then they meet me face to face, they're always shocked and they say, "You're exactly the same." And I'm like, why do you think that should be different? Like, of course, right? I am me. I don't make a face or different when I'm online or when I'm offline. I'm just myself. And I think that being a personal brand is very important, that people recognize that who you are is the same no matter where they see you. And I feel that that's what people love and that's what people crave nowadays. It's like authenticity. And it's hard at the beginning, right? A lot of people do that when they first start to do videos. They want to be perfect. They want to have the hair done. They want to have the makeup done. And then eventually I just go, who cares? Like, I'm just me. And people see me at the supermarket and I go, Francesca Moi. So I'm not going to always have the makeup on. I'm not going to always look perfect. So who cares? I'm just going to be myself. And it's part of life, right? It's part of business. And I think that people resonate with that way more than when they see someone that is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. A fabulous message to end this, a fabulous chat that we've had around what you've been doing, Francesca. I've so admired your journey. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. So if you're listening to this and you need that boot up the bum to stop waiting until everything is perfect, this is probably the message you should be listening to. Thank you so much, Francesca, for joining us. It's been such a pleasure to have a great chat with you. And we will have links to Francesca's book and her VA business as well. If you want to delegate and start to step into that role of being the CEO of your own business so that you can grow and build your brand and build your profile, please get in touch with her. All the details will be there. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you again next time in the That's Audacious podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening to this amazing podcast. Now, if you enjoyed this, you're definitely going to love my Facebook group where I've got over 11,000 people in it, and they're all business owners successful like you. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge, and in there I do classes every week, and I get to interview my clients and I get to teach you all the things that I've done to get my business to 100K plus a month. So I look forward to have you in there. It's called the Successful Entrepreneur Lounge Facebook group in Facebook. I look forward to see you there. Ciao.